Hi there everyone, this is Professional Pudding and welcome to the channel.
Hey everyone, I'm just here to show you a bit of a game demo that I've been making, and I've recently released one game on Steam called Gunor, and I really have the itch to start working on a second game. My idea here is sort of a slots-based roguelite, and I spent yesterday putting together a quick sort of prototype of what I'm going to do here with the game here in Godot. I will show you now what it looks like. Okay, let me cover the method that I use in this video to create this very excellent uh, AI generated code. So basically, I set up the working files and the assets, and then in one giant shot, I ask the AI to do all the work. Please implement this machine with these reels, with these assets in this ratio, and do these things, and hook it all up to a machine. And then what happens is we get a bunch of code that looks like it would work end to end. We have all the files there, and it looks like it'd be excellent. And then we end up debugging it, and then working on it and running it, debugging it, and working on it and running it, debugging it, and so forth in a loop. And you end up spending several hours on this, and you just basically never ever get to the working code stage, ever. So what I've done here is I have put together basically a background here, an area for play, some buttons, symbols that we're going to use here on the slot here. And I spent several hours hooking this all up, with the existing assets that I was able to get, the spinner here, everything like that. And then because I didn't actually know how I was going to put together like the actual grid and checking, I decided to let Cursor with Claude 4 just go ahead and take a shot at creating these reels. So I've created these specific scenes here and here. I did not create any of the reel and spin logic. So let me just go ahead and show you why AI is not taking our jobs anytime soon. This is about 3 or 4 different iterations of running through Cursor to see if I could get something working here. And this is honestly the best version we were able to get so far. Look at that beautiful alignment that we have here. This is actually probably one of the most aligned reels that we've had. Oh, there we go. There we go. Beautiful. Every single one almost on a different height. Just beautiful. So sort of the issue that I've been seeing in AI over the last several years of me using it as a programmer is it's just it cannot debug. It cannot debug and it's very poor at front end. So I was able to make some logic that maybe made a reel that like kind of looked good here. It's just not able to make a reel that actually does anything else. And if you look at the actual engine here, right, it's just we're just spitting out errors. The logic checking doesn't work here. So I'm gonna actually end up having to make all of this logic here by air quotes hand instead of an AI rolling it. So probably going to come back to this as a second part and just show you guys my progress and what it actually takes to get something that at least semi works here versus spitting something out with AI in a few seconds and then debugging it for what felt like 2 hours and then realizing that basically none of this code is usable and none of it flows together and it's just kind of crap. So all right, end of the video, part one. The good method, first you set up your working files and your assets. You set up your basic functions like your placeholders, the things you want to be in the code. You then ask it to write just one of the functions in the file. And then you debug that until it works. You commit that code, and then you ask it to write the next logical function, debug that, right? Commit the code, and you just repeat this in a loop here until you've slowly put together an entire working system. It takes a lot longer, and by a lot I mean what you're going to see in this video is a couple hours of work versus me trying to do it all in like what is seconds of work. This ultimately results in extremely higher quality code, which still has issues. You should be kind of rewriting it, reading it, cutting things out that are necessary. But this way you're actually able to finally achieve the working code status as long as you're iterating with it kind of like a real developer that you're pairing with in real time and just going into this particular loop here to actually come out to something that's working. And I'll show you an example of that working here now as well. Okay, this code here was generated using the good method and human intervention like we talked about. So setting up a lot of it, debugging it slowly, building on it, iterating it, pairing with it. And you're going to see here what the results look like now. Also, in the game, this is intended to be a roguelite where you kind of power up. So the idea is that you stop reels one at a time in order to actually be able to kind of create your ideal lineup. So let's give it a shot here. Let's do sevens, 7. Oh, missed it there. 7. Wow. Long time for a 7 here. 7, 7, right? I didn't get 5 in a row, so I wouldn't necessarily win. We're still working on the game design here. It's kind of in my head, but as you can see here, the difference is we actually snapped to the correct position. The reels weren't going crazy. They weren't moving all over the place. And this is based on iterating in small, exact steps. So this is why I don't think that AI is necessarily coming for jobs, particularly things that require high precision, like development or implementation consulting or lawyers or accounting and things like that. It's just not precise enough to handle full workflows end to end and needs heavy human guidance. So I think what's going to realistically happen in the future is that people will change the way that they're working and instead will be effectively pairing with AIs to offload parts of the job, and you'll be able to go way faster. Particularly in my development job, what used to take a week to do now can take 3 or 4 hours with AI if you're not worried about like scalability of the code, right? A lot of the code that AI currently generates is what I sort of call throwaway code. It's not intended for like large, reusable, scalable enterprise level projects, at least not yet. And so it's really good for small one-off applications or very finite specific use cases where you know you're not going to be constantly evolving the system like it would be a live environment. Particularly in game development here, it is usable to some degree as long as you are making sure that you are taking the time to kind of make it scalable. Otherwise, you are going to end up with a spaghetti mess after maybe months and months and months of this. So don't think I would recommend this for your like large scale open world MMO, but your defined 2D scope games that are things that you're aiming to complete in 4, 6, 8 months or a year. It is possible as long as you're very careful with it and constantly intervening to make sure, and never let it go ham on your code. You're going to end up with a mess. So I think this is how the future of a lot of work is going to go with development.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe for more.